Why is it 1001 when government employees ask questions on possible government shutdown? In today's Washington Post article titled "For Federal Workers, Anxiety Over a Possible Shutdown," I found a strange quote of number 1001 questions. I understand it's simply an exaggerated form of a lot of questions. However, I'm curious to know why it is 1001, not hundreds or numerous or even in round number. Is it simply a trope? Is big number plus one well-accepted usage? Can I say 101 or 10,001 question when I have many questions? The number 1001 is quoted in the following sentence. The government could shut down in a week if Congress can't reach a budget deal. And the Obama administration hasn't told workers what a shutdown would look like, who will be asked to come to work and who will be told to stay home. Rank-and-file federal workers have 1001 questions. Kane, Energy's human resources chief, is fielding many of them.
Doesn't this go back to the 1001 Arabian Nights?
This comes from the Oriental stories collected in 1001 Nights, also known as the Arabian Nights. It is just a well-known example of a very high number, used in various contexts. It always refers to these tales. This one-up is occasionally used with numbers other than 1000, but even then it is a reference to the tales of 1001 Nights. In any case, 1001 just means a great many. Note the contrast with 101, which usually means an introduction. This comes from the regularly used custom of numbering an introductory course at university, the Greek accent 101, etc.
The idiom 1001 is used to signify a great number, often exaggerated. 100 million can also be used in the same manner. 100,000 million and one very many. I can't stand around chatting, I've got 101 things to do this morning. Cambridge. The Macmillan Dictionary also gives a nice definition. 100,000 million etc. and one used for emphasizing that there are a very large number of people or things. Macmillan. An Old English proverb goes thus: there is always 1001 things to do. This speaks to the belief that there is never a reason for one to be idle, there is always something to do or be done. My mother said this a lot while we, her children, were much younger, and I used to wonder, as well, why 1001, and not 1,000 or any other number? The phrase, 1001, most likely originates from the title of the famous collection, 1001 Nights, now commonly called the Arabian Nights. The mainframe story concerns a Persian king and his new bride. He is shocked to discover that his brother's wife is unfaithful. Discovering his own wife's infidelity has been even more flagrant. He has her executed, but in his bitterness and grief decides that all women are the same. The king, Shahryar, begins to marry a succession of virgins only to execute each one the next morning, before she has a chance to dishonor him. Eventually the vizier, whose duty it is to provide them, cannot find any more virgins. Scheherazade, the vizier's daughter, offers herself as the next bride and her father reluctantly agrees. On the night of their marriage, Scheherazade begins to tell the king a tale, but does not end it. The king is thus forced to postpone her execution in order to hear the conclusion. The next night, as soon as she finishes the tale, she begins, and only begins, her new one, and the king, eager to hear the conclusion, postpones her execution once again. So it goes on for 1001 nights. Wikipedia. Whether or not there were actually 1001 stories, the idea is Scheherazade needs to keep the king continually entertained in order to stay alive. If she could, she would delay her execution indefinitely. This is how 1001 came to acquire this quality of near infinity or endlessness.
It turns out there are a number of reasons 1001 is an important number. Others have mentioned 1001 Arabian Nights, but probably not many know the following. In the Malawiya order of Sufi Islam, a novice must complete 1001 days of prayer before becoming a dada, or junior teacher of the faith. Also, a formulaic Arabic way to say thanks is 1000 thanks and thank you, 1001 thanks. Mathematically, 1001 is also a sphenic number, which is a positive integer that is the product of three different prime factors. Other sphenic numbers include 42, which is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. It's also a pentagonal number, which is a figure-8 number representing a pentagon. As well, it's popular for being, well, popular. According to Wordic, about twice as many books currently in print start with 1001 as with 1000. This marketing scheme is used to imply that the customer is getting a little extra information beyond books that have only 1000 items. The concept of a little extra, I think, explains the usage. You're getting the full amount plus 1, so there can be no doubt that you got everything there was to get, and then some. The plus 1 trope figures in other numbers as well, including baker's dozen, 12 plus 1, 101, and the formulaic a year and a day, which was a common length of time for contracts, minor criminal sentences, banishments, and the like. What it means, when you get right down to it, is unequivocally the full amount.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.